Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my variation on how I make chicken Pelau. Now this right here is a Trini dish all the way, and this is not something that we have in Guyana, but it is similar to Guyanese style cook-up rice, just a little bit different. Now before I get all of the comments saying that this is not the right way to make it, this is not a traditional recipe by any means, but I'm just sharing my own tips and my own tricks and the way that my family and I like this dish. If you want to change up anything, feel free to do so. And if you want to share your tips down below in the description box, please feel free to as well. So let's get into the recipe. So for this recipe today, I'm going to be using chicken, but if you wanted to use beef, if you wanted to use pork, or even if you wanted to use lamb, you can also do that as well. You can even use shrimp, but you would have to add in the shrimp at the end, so this way it doesn't overcook. So I'm going to season my chicken now, and I washed the chicken, dried it off very well. I took off the skin just because I don't like the skin on my chicken, and I'm seasoning it with some all-purpose seasoning. You can use any all-purpose seasoning of your choice. I'm also going to be going in with a little bit of ginger powder, as well as some black pepper. I'm adding in 2 bay leaves, as well as a couple sprigs of thyme, and when that's cooking, all of those thyme leaves are going to fall off. And I'm also going to be going on with lots of green seasoning. And of course, I had to put my little Guyanese spin on this, but I'm going to be going in with some casareep. If you do not have casareep or don't want to use it, you can also use a little bit of browning. The only reason why I'm adding this in is just to add in a little bit of sweetness as well as some color. I'm also going to be adding in some Worcestershire sauce. Again, this is my preference. If you don't want to add it, you don't have to. And at this point, we're going to give everything a good mix, and then we're going to start the cooking process. And since I've got my chicken out of the way, I'm going to start some prep on my veggies and aromatics that I'm going to be adding into my pilau. So I'm going to go ahead and cut an onion in half. I'm going to peel it, and I'm going to chop it up or dice it. And again, with any of these things, you can chop them however you want. This is just the way that I prefer to do it. I'm also going to go ahead and chop up some carrots into a fine dice. You can cut them bigger or smaller if you wish as well. I also have some hot peppers that I'm going to be chopping up, and I'm adding in quite a few. These peppers are very flavorful and they add a nice little spice. And I'm also going to be chopping up some fresh garlic. My green seasoning already had garlic in it, but I'm adding in some more just because it really adds a nice flavor, and you want this to be as flavorful as possible. So at this point, we're going to start the cooking process, and this part right here is integral whenever you're making a pilau. The reason being is because this right here is what's going to give your pilau that color in the end. So what we need to do is add in some oil into our heavy bottom pot, and at that point, we're also going to go in with some brown sugar. Make sure that as you're stirring the sugar and you're cooking it down in that hot oil, that you do not have the heat too high, and you also don't leave it unattended. Because if you do and that sugar burns, it's going to get very bitter and it's going to actually ruin your whole dish. So at this point, once you see it start to get nice and bubbly and it starts to caramelize just slightly and get a little bit darker, it is time for you to go in with all of that chicken. And when you add that chicken in, you are going to be tempted to turn it up. However, do not turn it. Let that chicken sear onto one side very well with that hot sugar and oil. And after about 2 minutes of it sitting in the pot, I'm going to go ahead and start stirring. Look at that beautiful dark brown color that side of the chicken got. That is exactly what you want, and that is how you know that your sugar was browned to perfection. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to fry this up into the oil and the sugar until that chicken releases all of its natural juices and until all of those juices dry up and this mixture starts to brown very, very well. So this is what my chicken's looking like after about a good 10 minutes. And this was on a high heat. I did it this way, so this way the chicken could release all of the natural juices, and then all of those juices would dry up, and the chicken is browning beautifully. So at this point, we're going to go in with some more ingredients. I'm adding in my hot pepper, my garlic, as well as my onions. And if you want to see where all of the ingredients and the measurements are, it will be in the description box right below this video. So click on the drop-down menu and scroll down a bit, and you'll see everything laid out right there. At this point, we're also going to add in some chopped scallions. I keep my scallions in the freezer already cut up, so this way whenever I'm cooking, I just have to add in a handful to whatever I'm making. So the onions and the garlic and peppers have fried up very well with the chicken for about another 2 minutes. At this point, I'm going to add more flavor. I'm adding in some more green seasoning, and this right here is going to keep building up the flavors of the dish. And at this point, I'm going to be adding in my carrots as well as some more chopped onions and some more chopped scallions. The reason why I add in more onions and scallions is just to keep on building up the flavors of the dish. Remember, if you just add in everything at once and dump everything in, you're going to get a dish that's not super flavorful. But the more things you layer in there, the better the dish is going to come out. So just trust the process. Go ahead and add these in and let these ingredients saute for a little bit. So I just let this saute for about 30 seconds. The reason being is because those carrots are going to get mushy while the rice cooks. I'm using parboiled rice today. This is my parboiled rice that I went ahead and just washed, and I'm adding it right on top of the chicken. I'm going to saute this for about 4 to 5 minutes, so this way the rice has a chance to soak up some of those seasonings. And after you add in your rice, you also want to go in with a little bit of salt. So this is what your mixture should look like after about another 4 to 5 minutes. As you all can see, that color is absolutely beautiful. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and add in my water. Again, if you would like my measurements, you can go ahead and look in the description box down below. I will be honest, I like a very soupy and a wet Pelau, so I don't really measure the water. If you wanted a dry Pelau, then you would have to go ahead and follow the rice packet directions and follow it that way. But I keep on adding in water until my rice is cooked and until I have it nice and loose and wet. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit more flavor. I'm adding in a sazon packet. This right here is optional, but I just wanted to add in something more to give more flavor and richness to this dish. So it's been about 10 minutes at this point, and as you all can see, the water has dried down a little bit and the rice is only halfway cooked at this point, so we still need to cook it for longer. At this point, I'm going to add in some more ingredients. I'm going to be going in with some chopped bell peppers, and I'm also going to be going in with some slices of corn on the cob. This right here might seem weird to some people, but trust me, when it boils down, especially when you make a wet Pelau, it's really, really delicious because it soaks up all of the flavors. I'm also going to be going in with some okra, and I'm going to be going in with some kidney beans. If you have pigeon peas for this, it is very, very delicious, but today all I had was kidney beans on hand. And at this point, I'm going to be going in with some coconut milk. And I'm also going to go ahead and top it off with some more water because I like my Pelau wet. I do not want it dry. And this needs to cook for about another 15 minutes so the corn, the okra, and the rice can also finish boiling together. And at this point, I'm also going to be adding in a couple pieces of pumpkin. Now, if you're using fresh pumpkin, then you're going to want to add it in more towards the beginning. But because this pumpkin was chopped and already in the freezer, it's not going to take much time to boil it all, so I could add it in at the halfway point. So my Pelau is coming to the finishing mark at this point. I'm going to go ahead and top it with some green onions or scallions just to add some freshness. If you wanted it to be a little drier, then add in less water. But again, I like mine a little soupier. And this right here is the perfect dish for the holidays coming up, or even just for winter or the fall in general, being that it's, usually cold outside depending on where you live. So if you all enjoyed my take on chicken Pelau today, I would hope that you all give this video a nice big thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed yet. Click the red subscribe button and you will never miss out on when I post my newest videos. And of course, drop those comments down below and let me know what you would like me to make next. I'll see you all again very soon. Bye everyone.